Rated M for mature.
If you've been playing Sniper Elite VR since release, you're probably pretty handy by now. Well, guess what? The Nazis just leveled up, and so did the rest of the game with this massive new update. Summertime in Rebellion's native UK is usually a time for taking it easy and getting to do one of our traditional holiday pastimes, like pretending the overcast beach we're laying on isn't giving us hypothermia, or swearing at caravans. But Sniper Elite VR's dev team at Rebellion, Just Add Water and Coatsink spent the recent weeks a bit differently, making their virtual getaway to the spectacular vistas of wartime Italy even better, more accessible, more customizable, and for those who want it, even more challenging. Let's run through the best bits of this latest update then, which is being rolled out on all platforms. Before we hunker down and go prone, remember to subscribe and turn on notifications to catch more of our stuff, and leave us a like if you found this video helpful. Now let's zoom in on those patch notes. First off, there are now more difficulty settings to tinker with, including a new custom difficulty. Just like Sniper Elite 4, custom difficulty lets you pick the bits you want to be challenging and the bits you don't, like a buffet bar down at the Authentic Plus restaurant. Aim assist, bullet drop, and wind effect options have all been added, so if you want the maximum realism experience, checking what the weather's doing before making your shot, and eyeballing the distance to your foe, then adjusting the reticle accordingly, that's all here. But if you're new to the game, or even VR itself, you also have the power to turn those off, for now at least, and add some aim assist to help you along the way. I don't know about you, but if I was in an actual war zone and someone offered me aim assist technology, yeah, I would definitely take it. Next up is some tweakery to vignettes, which are those sequences where you fly around with the camera in a kind of VR cutscene. They're triggered by kill cams, sprinting, and explosions, and you might like to whiz around enjoying the spectacle, or you might prefer to stay grounded in the eyes and hands of the Italian resistance fighter you inhabit. Particularly for those yet to get their sea legs for VR, it can be a lot to move through a big space without actually moving. So, if you want to maximise the ease of your experience, the August update puts some extra options in your arsenal. Vignettes can be turned off entirely, so you always stay with the protagonist, or they can be set to the new comfort mode, where they only kick in for sprinting sections and kill cams. Or if you're a seasoned VR veteran, you can select all vignettes, including explosions. But there's even more customization going on here, because you can also change the strength of the sprint vignette effect itself. So if you want them all, but you want to turn down the intensity of running, you're covered. Now let's take a moment to appreciate Sniper Elite VR's glow up. I mean, it was already easy on the eye, wasn't it, what with immersing you in a period-authentic occupied Italy and then exploding it everywhere, but this latest update pushes the visuals further still. On PC, extra graphics options have now been added for multi-sampling anti-aliasing, or MSAA, super sampling anti-aliasing, or SSAA to its friends, and lens flares, which, well, that one doesn't need abbreviating, does it? All of which makes for pin-sharp images and that extra bit of cinematic detail. While the latter probably isn't going to save your life, in fact, marvelling at the pretty rainbow flares from your simulated camera might actually indicate that you're not really of a Nazi slaughtering disposition. Those AA options could actually help to improve your aim though. Give them a try and see what's comfortable. Increasing these AA options may affect performance, of course. In addition, general lighting improvements have been implemented and environment popping issues have been addressed. Plus, there's now the option to turn bullet trails off if you prefer them gone. Next up, we're talking about a whole host of new options and settings to the control scheme to make it feel just right for your hardware. Let's start with tracking smoothing. Basically, this is anti-aliasing, but for your hands. VR controllers are marvellous things, tracking every tiny movement, but if you've got shaky paws, then it can be a bit distracting to see that translated in game. By setting tracking smoothing to high, you'll de-jitter the motion from your hands and become the cool hand Luke of the fidget spinner generation. Overall weapon movement will see a slight increase in lag when this is set to high though, so tune it to your personal preference. In a similar vein, we've now got low and high vibration settings, which, as our more astute viewers will have guessed, lets you choose the intensity of the vibration coming through your controllers. For PC VR and Oculus Quest, there's now even haptic support for anyone with B-haptic suits, which means full-body haptic feedback for those who don't compromise on immersion. There's also support for ProTube VR gun stocks, which allow easier weapon handling in VR using a rifle stock style frame. Thanks to both parties for their help in the journey towards making Sniper Elite VR the ultimate in combat immersion. We've really covered some ground here, but stay sharp, privates, because this briefing isn't over yet. I promise there's lollies in the mess hall afterwards. We've still got to mention the handy tweaks to in-game control that this update brings, starting with the improved flick grab system. The flick grab beam here will now cancel if your hand hits another grab collider before you actually flick and grab an object. In addition to that, it's slightly faster and easier to grab things because the time and velocity thresholds have been lowered to activate a flick grab, so you can make subtler gestures to pick up that ammo conveniently laying around everywhere. We've also got improved weapon alignment, better ladder climbing, the option to use hand movement for forward directional input, the ability to interact with the weapon bolt with your controller trigger, and look, just loads more. But let's end on one of my personal favourites, explosive practice in the resistance base. Chucking these about is just one of the absolute highlights of the experience, and now we can do it to our heart's content. There's a lot more to this massive update than we've covered here, so if you want the full list of improvements, follow the link in the description and you can bathe in all the technical notes. Subscribe to us here on the channel for more important briefings like this, leave us a thumbs up if you enjoyed what you just watched, check us out on Twitch and join the Discord if you still want more, and again, links down below in the description. Right, back to the practice range for me.